Welcome, everyone, to another episode of HR and Payroll 2.0. I'm Pete Tiliakis, and as always, I'm joined by the legendary Julie Fernandez. Welcome, Julie.
Thanks, Pete. Great to be with you again, and I can't hardly believe it's the end of April already.
I know. It's exciting and kind of scary. Like the quarter's gone. First quarter's gone. We're already deep into second quarter. Payroll Congress is right around the corner. Summer's right
Yeah,
around the corner. There's a lot to talk about. We have so much news today. That's what I'm excited about.
yeah,
Yeah.
we haven't done news in a little bit, so we got plenty to dig into. And if you start with ADP, like they're just finishing out their fiscal, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
one of
Yeah.
those wacky,
Absolutely.
weird fiscals. So, um,
Yeah, let's start there. So we, as analysts, got a nice update from ADP recently. We had an innovation update, if you will. I tweeted a bunch of this, so there's some good notes out there. Like I'd love to kind of recap here, but yeah, look, I mean, Srini Kutam, now the former CHRO, is now head of product, so he and the team gave us a great update. Lots going on there. Obviously, tons in Gen AI, ADP Assist is the solution. Obviously, that's leading all of that. You can look up that on their website and see a lot of the use cases out there. But it's all about augmentation, right? Bringing more capabilities and insights to the frontline worker, to the manager, all that sort of thing. Um, Across all the solutions, right? Yeah, Assist and Data Cloud are working very closely together to bring that different experience of surfaced insights and nudges and ability to help people get things right every time, on time, if you will. I think one of the things that really excited me the most, you probably recall Sora, right? They made that acquisition earlier around Sora. I think it was the beginning of the year, if I'm not mistaken. And what I really love about this, Julie, you'll appreciate this because we talk about this a lot here. Is orchestration, right? One of the things I think is really interesting about Sora, and I think maybe ADP has gotten, I perceive that they might have gotten ahead of some of the others, is just the orchestration of things between the lines, right? Between the transactions. We've talked about it about leaves. But they're really looking at Sora as an opportunity to start creating more of an orchestrated experience for employees for transactions that sometimes actions and experiences that go beyond the transaction. So I think that's really great, right? Bringing tech together, bringing process together, and making it much more seamless and automated. So that's something I would really keep an eye on.
yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
I want to ask you though, did some of those insights include platform specifics? Because oftentimes, they have their different strategic platforms, but there's still folks using other platforms, and I always like to poke a little bit and find out, is it for all the platform users or certain platforms? Did they give any insights on that?
Well, of course, right? I mean, ADP Data Cloud and ADP Assist are available against all their HCMs. I think it's fundamentally becoming part of the fabric of ADP solutions. So, yes, I would say it's going to be available across all. And when you look at some of the solutions that they're operating that are most popular, like Workforce Now,
Hmm.
they're bringing a lot more sector focus into there, but also bringing in, I think you'll appreciate this. They're really helping with obviously the advanced workflows, like I mentioned. But one of the things I thought was cool was they were using it for digital onboarding and doing a bit
Okay.
more of the data movement and help with AI, or excuse me, help in getting that data migration right and configuration and policy configuration sort of set up for clients through AI as well. So yes, you're seeing this across all their platforms. Um, and I think you're going to see deeper integration with Assist. Deeper integration has been going on with Data Cloud, which is their rich data set across all their customers, right? 1 million customers, and very much driving a lot of the benchmarks and insights and the ability for folks to get that those nudges and help along the way, right, along their
Yeah.
transactions. So yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, we did hit on some of those. Everything's getting stronger, right? Next gen's getting stronger. Global
Mhm.
payroll. We've already kind of talked about that. I think from Rethink, I did a write up on that. But
Right.
yeah, no, I love it. I think ADP is really, obviously they've gotten much sharper with their go to market now, so that the solutions are a bit more cleaned up. I think there's a lot of platforms at ADP, and it can be a little confusing, but
Right.
I really appreciate what they're doing to clean that up and make it easier. And then, of course, I don't know if you realize this, Julie, and maybe others don't, but ADP also has a ventures program similar to what we've seen, maybe UKG or Workday or others
Workday.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where they're
Mhm.
making these incremental investments in point solutions that can enhance their marketplace and enhance their environment, and maybe ultimately acquire some of them. Who knows? But some really nice additions there. Leave of absence was one of the partner investment areas. I know that's key
Mhm,
for them.
mhm.
So it makes total sense, right? They've got benefits, they've got payroll, they've got HCM. So all that kind of comes together there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, and
and
so yeah, really good stuff. I thought it was a great update. I like the way ADP is kind of breaking it into quarters now. I feel like we were getting mostly half year stuff, like most of the HCMs, but I love the more frequent stuff. So yeah,
yeah.
I love it.
Awesome, great to hear.
Yeah,
That wasn't the only kind of summit, right, and update that you have had since we talked last.
yeah, right. We the analysts got to go out to San Francisco to the beautiful Cavallo Point, and I believe that's what it's called in
We
Sausalito, California, and yeah, it was wonderful, right? Workday Innovation Summits are always exciting. It's such a privilege to get to go. And just, one of the things I thought was interesting to start with, Julie, is I was sitting there sort of opining about, wow, when did I first started working with the Workday platform? And for me, I think I was coming up around 2007, 8, something like that, right? But how about you? How long have you been kind of poking around and engaging with Workday?
You know what? When I was first engaging with Workday, it was before they had scaled to large market. And
Yeah.
so it was working with clients, well below the 3,000 employees. And, and so they were still kind of new. And that was right before they had their big, massive, their first really big client. I want to say it was Flex or somebody that might not even be around anymore.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's been probably 20 years,
Well,
almost
exactly.
20 years.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I was going to say, I looked it up because I was like, I think they've been around about 20 years now. Right. And you're right.
Yeah, yeah,
19 this year. So congratulations to Workday. I think look, they set the pace for cloud HR. Let's be honest.
yeah.
They were a bit of the darling right out of the gate, and they've done a phenomenal job. Right. Look, 7.3. I looked at the 10K again this morning, 7+ billion in ARR and more than 10,000 customers across all their apps. So wow, what a trajectory in the last 20 years, or 19 years, I guess you could say, coming up on 20. So yeah, look, I think Workday is, I posted this on LinkedIn, but I think that there was a different atmosphere at this event. I thought the executives, particularly Anil, right? He's retired now.
Mhm,
I guess you could
mhm.
say he's the chairman.
Yeah,
He's not the CEO anymore. He's turned that over to Carl. And I think that there was I don't want to say they were more relaxed, but they just seemed more at peace, I guess is what I would say. And I thought the tone was very, I use the words primed and focused. I think Workday is they've done a lot of work in building their platform, being very careful in building their AI. They've been on that journey since 2015. They've been very smart about how they've partnered and how they've constructed things. And I think they're in a great position. The international is going to be huge for them. You've seen them do a lot more in finance. You've seen them do a lot more with payroll to bring that around for the full
yeah.
suite
And down
connection.
market, right? As I start to
Yeah,
think about
and
their
now
partnership with Insperity and
that's
some other
right.
things. Yeah,
That's right. The Insperity partnership is going to bring them down market, which we've talked about, and I wrote a little bit about. So yeah, I'm excited. I think Workday is in a great position. Massive TAM potential when you think about all the sort of greenfield opportunity just in finance. Finance
right.
still has a lot of opportunity to transform. Certainly, HR does as well. So I think they've got a huge TAM potential. But what I think is really exciting is not only the Gen AI that they're building, which they showed us like or mentioned about 200 and two to 300 use cases or so, and they're aiming for like 2,000 within their platform. But what is really exciting was listening to Hired Score's leadership, Athena, the founder. I'm drawing a blank on her last name right now, but just the cool stuff that they're going to be doing with Hired Score and the talent intelligence there, and what they can learn from them equally, and Workday can teach them about AI and back and forth. I think there's a lot of opportunity for them to do some really cool things across the platform. So yeah, like I said, I mentioned a few things I'm going to keep an eye on with
Yeah,
them, and I think that's one. I want to see what Hired Score is going to do across, to drip in more innovation across Workday's platform. I think it's going to give their talent side and definitely the recruiting a huge boost. Definitely want to see what payroll is going to be doing, and certainly one of the things obviously all the HSIMs are very anxious to solve and help with is the frontline manager and frontline worker. I feel like Workday's leaned really hard on that for a while now, and that's all coming together as well. And you'll appreciate this. I thought there was a lot more clarity around their pricing, their SKUs, and how they're bundling things to make it easier for the customers to adopt. So a lot of excitement around Workday, and I think it's going to be cool to see what where they go. And I'll be honest, I think they're still in the driver's seat to lead in the same way they have. So we will
I love
see.
I love the insights you got into just kind of the feel in the room,
Yeah,
at those events, and it just made me think, well, like the rat race is slowing down here in the SaaS market as we approach, approach the part of the market that is, kind of table stakes to move yourself into the cloud, and so, I can't help but wonder if that, that's a little bit of that breath of, whew, okay, like it's not so friendly, that you're catching there.
yeah. Well, look, I mean, Workday has what, half of the Fortune 500, I think it is. I'm not positive. I have to go look in that again. I think
It's
it's about
always been
half.
yeah, slightly
Yeah,
more than half is where I think
yeah.
it's been. I'm not sure
So
that I've seen specifics lately.
yeah, I mean, I think you can tell like North America's a little, maybe a little saturated, at least in maybe enterprise, right? So certainly there's a lot of opportunity still with mid market and down market, which Workday is right there, right, meeting
Yeah,
it with their partner Insperity. But I think
and rest of
internationals
world. Yeah, and
totally,
rest
yeah.
of world
Rest of
as
world is
well.
going to be huge. Workday is really looking. That's where the partner ecosystem I think is going to be absolutely vital, helping them get into those other countries, particularly Germany, France and
Yeah.
some of these. And I know Australia's big for them. They're already doing really well there. The new payroll module, or excuse me, engine is available now there as
Hmm,
well.
hmm, hmm.
And more to come. And I'm staying very close to them on payroll. I love what they're doing with global payroll and the approach they're taking, saying, "Hey, look, we don't want to own all that. We really just want to create a great experience, single experience for our users through the Workday platform, and let's leave the heavy lift in global payroll to our partners." So,
Well, and staying close is
yeah,
great, but they've been really slow to move into other countries. Like
yeah,
slow and intentionally slow, right? So
yeah.
there hasn't been much country wise to talk about in quite some time now.
Yeah, that's true. I think they have right. They have five templates right now, country templates for payroll. But look, that's where the partners come into play.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's where the go to market with Alight now Newco, I guess it would be, will
Hmm.
be really pivotal, particularly for those seven or so European countries that they mentioned when that came out. And look, co innovation around payroll and just otherwise across their partner network. I think you're gonna see more of. The platform's more open than ever. They've really armed developers with the tools to engage their solution and extend their ecosystem even more than it was. So yeah, and that's one thing I want to point out. This was brought up. Carl was very clear on this because I've seen this with some of my client vendors that are trying to partner or were last year, that maybe there was some obstacles to that, and that there was this idea that Workday wasn't open to partnering anymore with in certain
Yeah,
spaces where they
yeah.
might have had a little saturation. And so Carl made it very clear that's not the case. We are, air quotes, open for business when it comes to partnerships. So any of the vendors out there that were, maybe we're having some issues, if
Discouraged.
you
Yeah.
were, get out there, right there. Workday is absolutely open for business in that
Go
way.
back at
Go back
it.
at it. Yeah, no, I think. Look, I think there's. Look, I'm sure Workday must get bombarded with opportunities, right, to partner. Not everything's going to be right. Not everything is going to be a fit. And so I'm sure that that's a great problem to have and part of it. But Carl
Yeah.
did emphasize open for business. So if you're looking
Well,
to
and part
partner
of
with
their
Workday,
model has always been, it's not the Wild West partner wise, and so, certainly there's a lot more partners than there ever were, but there is a lot more control than maybe we see in the bigger legacy ERP ecosystems where come one come all, everybody can be an integration specialist or an analyst.
yeah, I mean, I think that, yeah, like I said, it's as open and as extensible as it can be, and Workday is inviting that, and that's the whole point, right? Like Workday, is positioning themselves as a platform, right? It's not just a set of apps anymore; it's a platform, and that platform comes with integrated partners and marketplaces and abilities to take it beyond whatever they're building internally. So,
I don't know about you, but I don't know very many people that are hopeful about the world of work. And I'd like to change that. My name's Marcus Mossberger, and I started the Hope at Work podcast, where you'll find two things. Number one, really interesting guests, and number two, innovative ideas about the future of work. Check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think the the HCM wars are going to heat up. Let's just know that they're all they're all vying for that vying for that international population now. We're seeing everyone sort of push beyond borders, so it's going to be
That's
interesting to see
right.
what
That's
happens.
right.
And I love I just love all of it. I think I'm excited for the AI. I'm excited to keep an eye on hired score. I think there's some cool things going to come from that. And yeah, it's good stuff. So
Yeah.
here we
Awesome.
go.
Well, so let's, if we had a bell, we'd ring it because I think we're going to shift over to some congratulations next.
Yeah. So more in the HCM world. If you notice recently, I don't know if everyone saw this, but UKG named a new president, a female president, Rachel Barger. She's coming over from Cisco Systems. I believe she was the SVP of Americas for them, and she will be leading up I believe it's the GDM, go to market, and the sales, marketing, and customer relationship elements of UKG. So congratulations to Rachel. Congratulations to UKG. I think this is a really, I think this is one of those things where you're seeing UKG go to the next level, and they got to bring in. You've often got to bring in that leadership, right, to bring a different viewpoint and ability to help you grow to that next band of revenue. So very exciting, big tech,
Yeah,
right? Big tech coming to HCM is really cool.
that's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, congrats, Rachel. And
Yeah. It never hurts
I'll,
to see more. It hurts to have more female
yeah,
executives out there too in the space, which is really, really cool. So I'm excited
that's
to
right.
see what lens she'll bring that to UKG to take them to the next point. So very good.
Absolutely,
Congratulations. All right.
absolutely.
So next one we've got Alight, right? They spun off the big news, right? They spun off their payroll and pro services business to HIG Capital.
That's right.
Yeah, we've opined on it lightly. I think I think it's a great that Alight now has, the payroll business has a new home that will nurture it. It sounds like they're going to invest. We had a good update this morning from them on that. Yeah, so I think it's exciting. It's going to be interesting to see what the new name is, what the new brand is, and how they're going to operate. But I know you've written something about it and dug deep and very close to it. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so interesting. So first of all, just for folks who aren't staying as close to this, it's there's an agreement out there, but of course these things take time. So I would expect it's going to be June, maybe July before there's any real finality to that. So in the meantime, we have a light, which is basically going to keep all the benefits benefits business on their side, and then for folks who don't know, kind of the HR side of the house or the part that's being spun off that HIG will invest in next is the HR side of the house that really focuses on payroll. That's a sweet spot for you and I. And I know many folks may not remember, but that business included some of the MGA HR business that came over in 2019 or so with them. And it's very global, right? So unlike some of the Alight mainstay benefit stuff, it's got a lot of global components to it, and the professional services bit is really the bit that works with Workday and SAP deploys and Oracle deploys and the AMS services. So just in case folks don't know what to make of the professional services tagline, when you hear payroll and professional services, that is essentially the HCM business, the business that supports a lot of the HCM initiatives. And so those are the two pieces that are coming together, and a lot of clients out there. So, there are a lot of clients that are kind of wondering what happens as these two part ways. And especially since they've been kind of going to market a lot, right? Around the bringing it all together has been a theme for them for years. Um,
Yeah.
and I know you've been have some experience and are close with that as well. But what comes with that, and what does it mean? They're one of the big boys in the industry, and so it touches a lot of clients. And essentially, there's a lot that stays the same, and a lot of collaboration that will be in place
Yeah.
as they move forward. So if folks are thinking that this is largely disruptive, highly disruptive, or a lot of things going on. That's not at all the nature of the way these two are going to carve out or split from each other. There's a lot of continuity that's been thought about and embedded in this, and just lots of different detail. I'd be really happy to talk to anybody that has some questions or needs to know more detail, but I'd refer them to things that we've written and spoken on before about them first, because because we've shared a lot of detail in this space.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the offering is very differentiated. It's very strong with the enterprise buyer. I think it's getting better with the middle market buyer for global payroll when it comes
Yeah.
to the work that they've done to modernize some of their capabilities from engines and that
Hmm.
sort of thing. So look, I mean, I've been critical of the fact that I didn't think Alight nurtured this quite the way they should. I don't know if Alight really understood what they had. And I think this is great, right? I think HIG is very, from what I'm reading and what I'm hearing, they're very committed to this business. This is not a, break it apart kind of a thing. They really do see the value in this and want to invest and advance it. And you've got a lot of smart people that are still a part of this business that are going with it. Everything that you're used to from that side of the organization is really following it. And I would even point out, I don't know if you mentioned this, Julie, but the Workday benefits element is coming with this, so you can
That's right.
still
That's
come
right.
to the NewCo for payroll and benefits and AMS within your Workday instance. So and their practice for SAP goes too, right? All of that stuff.
Yep. Yep.
So
All of those things
um,
go.
yeah, very differentiated capabilities. I hope this will be a boost for them, just from an investment and a care perspective. And I think it's gonna, I think this is a good move for everyone. So we'll
Yeah,
love
and
to stay
when you
close to it.
even when you just think from the investment perspective, Pete, there's a lot of new investment, a lot of dynamic things happening in benefits that haven't happened for years between navigation and wellness, and so there's that all vies for investment dollars on the benefits side of the house, and there's certainly more, a lot more to do as you develop the global payroll and professional services business, and so that's vying for investment dollars, and so just being able to approach investment, as a standalone or as a carved out organization, make sure that there is investment, and I think that's the thing that people are most excited about is. It's not investment shifting from what they've started here with the payroll business and the professional services business, and now it's benefits time. It's like no, like there's excitement and investment around, on both sides of the house. And so this gives them each a little bit of an identity there.
Yeah, yeah, and good timing too, right? I mean, we just talked about
Great.
Workday, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Workday's got big international plans, and I think Alight's payroll solution and AMS and deployment are going to be a key partner for them, right? We already know they are
Yeah. And when we talk
sizable.
international, P, like
Yeah,
Alight Payment Services and the digital wallet, like some of those things are prime time now, and they're garnering a lot of excitement out
yeah,
in the marketplace. And those things go with the new co, right, with the
yeah,
new business,
absolutely.
and are very global in nature and are growing, growing and thriving parts of the business. So
Yeah, and more
that's
important,
exciting.
they can sell Workday and they can sell SAP as well, right?
Yes,
So not
that's
only
right.
are they a deployer and a reseller, or excuse me, a service provider, but they're also a reseller. So look, I think they're in a great position here. Very differentiated capability. They know the market. They know this. They know the product. They know the Workday product incredibly well. And yeah, I think this is good, man. I'm excited to see how this all evolves. So looking forward to catching up with
Absolutely.
them in a little bit at Congress there in Nashville.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And hey, so like just making a weird wonky little touch point here, because I think now you're going to tell us a little bit about Zealous, which used to be a part of the old
Yeah,
North Gatorland. So,
I
like
know.
there's a strange historical connection there, right?
I
For
know,
folks
right?
who are kind
So
of geeks in the space.
yeah, along the same lines, right? We just saw another divestiture or sale, I guess you could say, of a a notable payroll business. So Apex Partners, I'm not terribly familiar with them, purchased from Bain Capital, who bought it in 2017 from what would have been NGA back then, or whoever, I can't remember who owned NGA at that time.
Yeah.
Pre-Alight, Zealous, right? Zealous was acquired, like I said, by Apex from Bain. And so if you know Zealous, Zealous was I guess, the amalgamation, right, of some part. Excuse me. I guess it would be the roots of it would have been Morpay, the small market
Yes.
piece
The down
from
market.
NGA, which was mostly a UK based kind of solution, as well as some other things. They own Benefex. I don't know if you
Yep.
remember Benefex,
Hmm.
as well as a few other solutions. So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to actually talking to them. We're having a briefing very soon. I think it's in a couple of weeks or later in May. And yeah, just looking to learn what's going on there. But look, more payroll on the move, right? Payroll is a growth area and it's a growth industry, and you're seeing these bigger capital organizations um, not just starting, really acquiring them and building their portfolio around, or adding them to their portfolio to build around HR. So
Yeah, and
Yeah, this is interesting.
another feather in the down market cap, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
because this has had its roots in a lot of the small medium sized businesses where there's a lot of company volume and
yeah.
and a lot of companies and not as many employees. So we're on the other end of the spectrum here.
Yeah. Well, I think it's exciting though. I mean, it sounds like, I mean, look, they're making investment, right? I mean, that no one's
Yeah,
gonna, I mean, what capital organization, or excuse me, what private equity or, or investment firm is going to put money into something sizable like that if they know it's not going to grow? And obviously this is a growth area. It's incredibly important. It's growing in importance. And look, I'm finding, as we all know, in my payroll profession confidence index, that we are way behind on modernization for payroll as a collective as a collective profession. So
yeah,
there
yeah,
is a plenty of runway for modernization around payroll, HR, and so many spaces. So I think I think there's gonna be more on the move, right? I think there's gonna be more investment in this, and I think you could see even more firms starting to maybe even go public, right? I think we're
yeah,
getting, once the
yeah,
market kind of gets a little, probably past the election, I'm sure we'll start to see maybe some talk of some IPOs as well. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Okay, I think we're going to move into a different space here with
yeah.
maybe compensation.
Yeah, we got a couple more, right? So let's talk EOR real quick here. So first off,
Yep.
I'm going to bounce around a little bit. I know I have these a little bit out of order, Julie, but I'm going to say the
No
first
worries.
one is congrats to Deel. Deel has hit 100 directly owned country legal entities as an EOR, which is remarkable, right? I
Yeah.
know there's might be another couple that have that many, but the direct model is really picking up in the EOR space, and as you know, they're fueling a lot of that by the acquisition of PaySpace, which we talked about.
Yeah.
So congratulations to them. That's really cool. And they also turned 5 years old on March 19th. So happy anniversary to Deel.
Woohoo!
I
Happy
thought that was
birthday.
pretty interesting. I felt like they were still, now that's still very young, but it seems like it was almost yesterday that they sort of came in and started disrupting. So
Yeah, and
congratulations
listen,
to
I
them.
feel like they're just spoon feeding some of these, like big milestones out bit by bit because every single time we're talking about it, there's like something notable on
Yeah.
the radar from Deal. So yeah, great job, guys.
They are,
Congratulations.
yeah, development savages, man. They are out there pushing it. I tell you, the goal from them was, if you've read any articles of their founders, it was to be the Apple of HR,
Yeah,
global HR, and so they're trying, right? They're trying to create it all, and I think they've done a really good job putting together a nice offering, and it's starting to show up in a lot more places. On buyer conversations I'm having, I'm starting to see them in more partnership conversations. So I think you're seeing it mature, and they've really what their vision was is really coming to light, and it's been exciting to watch it.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
along that
Well,
lines, right? More EOR.
yeah,
Remote acquired ESOP, which was a partner of theirs for equity and comp management. So I think this is interesting because I've been saying for a few years now that I think that the EOR space is going to have to bring in a little bit more talent to the opportunity, or excuse me, to their their offering and their delivery model, beyond just payroll and sort of benefits and core HR and time. And that's going to mean things like learning and development, maybe some performance management, and certainly now compensation management and some other areas are starting to come in. So yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that. Remote and Deel and all the AORs are quite keen competitors. So
yeah. I feel
uh,
like the total rewards is kind of that pivotal touch point, right? That
yeah,
gets you from across some of these spaces.
yeah, and you got to have it. I mean, and the equity part. I like the fact that there are more firms, right? We had some great conversations this year with Jason Lee from Salt, on the whole equity issue. So
Yep.
this is equity management in the sense of ownership, I believe, for employees. So
Yeah.
good to see, right? Good to see. I want to see more of that going on. So yeah,
Right.
Hey, we're the payroll baddies, and our mission is to make payroll fun and relatable.
And call out industry when they hear it.
You gotta call it out. You gotta call it like you see it. But we also gotta shine a light on all those unsung payroll heroes out there, making sure we get paid.
Yeah, those are the real payroll baddies out there, and we love sharing their stories and showing them love.
With gold chain and everything, baby.
By the way, SAP is the best payroll out there, and if you don't like it,
Get out.
Hi there, I'm Peter Zollman. I'm a co-host of the Inside Job Boards and Recruitment Marketplaces podcast.
And I'm Stephen Rothberg, and I guess that makes me the other co-host.
Every other week, we're joined by guests from the world's leading job sites.
Together, we analyze news about general, niche, and aggregator job board and recruitment marketplaces sites.
Make sure you sign up and subscribe today.
Awesome. All right, and maybe one last one. Then I want to talk a little bit of payroll news, if you don't mind. But
Don't mind.
one last acquisition we saw, Cornerstone picked up Tailspin, and that is now bringing in spatial computing capabilities, right? So spatial learning. Think virtual reality, extended
I'm thinking Man
reality.
on the Moon, Pete. I'm thinking
Yes,
Man on the Moon.
all the realities, right? I mean, and this makes total sense, right? I mean, spatial learning. You think about like I've been watching like how they're teaching pilots with augmented reality, teaching surgeons. I've even seen police officers and security folks trained in virtual reality. So, wow, I mean, that's really cool, right? I mean, I've always loved the idea of like, especially when you were younger, right, Julie? Think about like all the jobs you were curious about, but you never would have gotten an opportunity to
Mhm.
do or try them. But what if you could put on a headset and suddenly you could try those things, and now you're like, oh, this is interesting. That's for me. I want to go check that out. Like I think that would be. I can just think of so many use cases for this. It makes total sense, right, to fit into their world in terms of learning and development. And yeah, I think this is the future. This is the stuff we're going to see more of
Yeah, well,
for
no
sure.
surprise it should come from Cornerstone, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, no doubt, right? They are the leader. They have been the leader, I would say, and of course, bought their peer, right, Saba software back a few years ago to really become the mega powerhouse when it comes to learning. And don't forget, they have a beautiful suite of other talent solutions. I researched them for several years. And I would tell you that they have a lot of capabilities around talent, performance, recruiting, you name it, but also even actually have a decent core HR solution that I've seen a number of customers benefit from in the middle market. So, yeah, Cornerstone's just getting stronger, I would say, in this
Yep,
case.
yep.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk
Okay.
one more thing. I think you've probably seen this, Julie. Now have 4 states, I believe, or 3 states, I guess it would be, that have signed on for EWA laws. So laws to make it that would make earned wage access more protected, I guess you could say, as a concept, but also protect the consumers that use it. So I love seeing this. I think this is good. I think in the absence of legislation, sometimes you end up getting some nefarious players. So
Yeah, yeah.
maybe this will help. I know there's a lot of blurry lines on whether or not EWA is a good thing or bad thing. There's still some angst around it, and I understand. But I'll tell you this, Julie. When I was looking at my payroll profession confidence index, again teasing this because we're gonna launch this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna show this at and you've seen a sneak peek,
At
but
Payroll Congress, yes, I
yes, I'm
did.
going to show you the Payroll Congress. When you looked at the most impactful digital enablers on a collective basis, right? It was mostly cloud analytics and mobile, right? But for the
Right.
smaller firm, those below 1,000, digital payments was number 2, above those other things.
Yeah.
So I think that tells you how impactful these can be. And I understand that they may be sector specific in some ways. Particularly, these may slant more hourly, more frontline worker for sure. But we're seeing so many statistics of people in the six digit salary range starting to have concerns about paycheck to paycheck and all of this. I just think that even if you put aside the financial wellness part of this, the appetite for digital money movement and digital wallets and all of that is increasing, right? There's so many indicators of it, from open banking to earned wage access to other things. This is just the way things are going to go. This is the way money is moving. No pun intended. So
Yeah.
I think we're
Yeah.
going to see more of it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't disagree. And hopefully, I think things innovations move best when they're not forced. So I do think that things are going to move in this direction. But when there's talk of this is the only direction and it's all got to be digital, that's when folks throttle back. And
Oh yeah.
I look at the legislation in this space, and I think like this is great to see this legislation, and it should be a little bit messy because it's trying to solve for payday lending and things that are messy and by nature, and and not the best model for folks to actually access and get funds. And so you're trying to correct for something that is a greater concern even of the industry. So
I
good to
know.
see some legislation around it.
Yeah, well, the other thing is too, like I never want to see legislation for legislation's sake, because I think that just
Yeah.
suppresses innovation. But when it's guardrailing the industry a little bit, I think that's always a good thing. I know there's some folks. There are some antagonists on the other side of this that would say, well, it's just opening the doors for these. For some of the predatory stuff, but I think I don't know. I feel like it keeps guards some of that, but at the same time, we got to lay some sort of foundational box, right? Some sort of lines in the
Yeah,
sand and
yeah,
begin from there and begin to adjust, right? I'm sure since the internet's come out, right, there's been legislations that changed over time that as we learned. So I'm sure that will come with these sort of things as well. Yeah.
absolutely. So I think we agreed that you're going to geek out on something very payroll specific next,
Yeah,
right?
I do have one more that I didn't put on the list here, Julie, but I do want to bring up. Did you happen to see that the non-competes got killed finally by
Oh,
the FTC?
well,
Did you
I
see this?
did. I did see that, and interestingly, though, there's also still some speculate. There's still a lot of context and questions about whether they have the authority to do this, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, an interesting move. It's getting quite a bit of attention, and then I see other folks challenging. Well, shouldn't it be possible at maybe executives levels and not at at daily worker levels? And so I think the controversy is just starting here.
Oh yeah. Well, but here's my thing. Like, okay, let's say that this does get, something happens and maybe they are able to sort of prevent it from being entirely done away with, if you will. Does this sort of put, now that this is out there in the media, whether it's law or not, right? Does
Yep,
that
yep.
put it into the heads of the community of workers and of the world to say, as I go, if I'm a talent and I'm going to an organization and one's got a non-compete and another one doesn't, I mean, I can say, yeah, you might have every legal right to do this, but it's a dead process, and um, or dying process, I guess I would say, and you start to deter talent even if it's not illegal, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Almost
Well, they
becomes a
have
brand
already,
stigma.
yeah, they've already been just a litany of case challenges, and I think that's where this
Yeah,
comes from, right? Where there is an argument that says this person has been prevented from gainful employment or prevented from, and some of these non-compete agreements go probably further beyond what is reasonable, in language, just probably in the interest of being able to defend them in some way, shape, or form. So yeah, I saw it, and thanks for adding this to the list because I dug around into quite a few different articles on this topic just out of curiosity.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm going to keep my eye on this because this is, I have no doubt this is going to spark debate one way or the other, even if it stays. You're right. I'm sure someone will challenge it. That's
Yeah,
what always happens in in anything.
yeah,
But look, I
even
think it's a win for workers, right? And I wonder if it's at least for U.S. workers, because I know I've been on the bad end of some of those.
yeah,
Thankfully, it's never prevented me from making a living, but I do know people who have been in really precarious situations, and I always thought that it's easy to listen to them and go, oh yeah, that's terrible, that's crappy on the part of that company, but then I do understand the companies wanting to protect IP and competitive, whatever. But come on, man, people have to make a living. And I think we have to be realistic here. So here's my other question to you, Julie. Do you think things like, let's say this sticks, right? Let's say we don't have any more non-competes, which is somewhat un-American from the way we've
yeah, yeah,
operated, right? Like,
exactly.
does this open the doors for more employee friendly things like the 4-day work week, or like, whatever, maybe some better FMLA type or PTO type laws, or I don't know, whatever, pick a use case you can find in the workplace that people have angst over as Americans. Does this sort of open the door for something, for us to begin having maybe more employee friendly slant to the way we treat workers in the United States? I'm curious.
Yeah, well, that's not a leap. My mind was actually going in a different direction because I don't know if I'm drawing any, kind of direct parallels of the non-compete or losing non-competes with different types of attracting
Yeah.
things for employers or employees. Ultimately, what I was thinking of is if this doesn't go away, then it just makes sense to me that there needs to be either more control or more enforcement for bad actors because
Yeah.
I don't think the intent, you try to do good on one side and, you maybe open up the door for, things that are really bad acting and harmful to corporations actually, like making making a profit or a margin that's that's reasonable, and you can't do that either, right? So that's where my head was at.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's a good point. And I mean, yeah, you got unions in America. I mean, there's so many things, so many layers of complexity and all this that is interesting. But we'll see. At least I think it's a step in the right direction, and I hope we do think a little bit more through some of these antiquated ways of which we govern work. That maybe made sense at the pre-war part of America, but now, like, come on, are we? It's a different time. We're still not doing right, I think, by people when it comes to time off. I don't think we're doing right by definitely by mothers and maternity, or even paternity, folks going out to take care of children or family members. So, yeah, we've got a lot of opportunity. So maybe this is one step in that direction, I hope.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Eye-catching at least. All right.
Yeah. One
Now,
last thing. So I think this is positive, but I'd love to know your thoughts on this, Julie. So, as you may or may not know, did you know it was a leap year first?
Hey, this is William Tincup, and you should know about the You Should Know podcast. It's a topical, fun podcast with Ron, myself, and a guest, or guests, plural sometimes, and we tackle the most timely topics of the day. Give it a look, give it a listen, and subscribe. Thanks.
so I did know that, but I probably didn't think about it as I didn't think about it in the same way you did, for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, okay. If so, I saw this online. I saw it on the Payroll Org's news, and it made me smile because I've dealt with this as a payroll leader back in my day. But did you know in a leap year you might actually be able to get paid one extra time this year? Did you know that?
No, and in fact, I'm laughing because when I think leap year, I'm like, "What didn't that happen 2 months ago? Why the hell are we talking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
this
yeah.
now?" Right?
I know.
But
So
I
so
know
let
you're
me
going to tell us.
let me break this down. Yeah. So in a normal year, right, you've got 53. You've got one day of the week that will occur 53 times. 52 weeks times 7 is like 364 days, right? But in a leap year, it could have 366 days, and those 2 days will occur 50. Those 2 days of the week will occur 53 times. It says. So basically, for employers that pay on a weekly and biweekly basis, an extra payday may occur 53 rather than 52 weekly payers, which would be 27 rather than 26 for biweekly payers.
Yeah,
So if those paydays fall in the extra days of the week, you have to make essentially a 53rd or a
or
27th
27th.
payment. Yeah. So good news. It does happen to happen. It says in 2024, the problem arises for some weekly and bi-weekly payers with a Monday or Tuesday payday because January 1 is a Monday and the 2024 is a leap year. Although bi-weekly payers whose first payday of the year was January 8 or 9 will not have the issue. So I'm sure payroll managers are all over this. I'm sure employees might even be all over this, but I forgot about this little bit of good news if you're an employee that you may, and I actually think, are you actually paying them an extra one, or are you actually just paying them the next one early? I'd have to.
Well, and who
It would
knows?
depend on the cycle, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All I'm thinking is, I hope to God there's a co-pilot out there that's just making this whole thing go away or happen, smooth and seamlessly. But thank God for payroll practitioners who
Yeah.
wake up the year of Jan 1 of a leap year and go, okay, this year's going to be one of those, like the
Oh yeah.
locusts
Oh
coming,
yeah.
right? That where we have 2 seasons of locusts that are coming this year.
Well, the reality is, just to be fair, for those of you who aren't in payroll, the reality is when you're setting your calendar at the end of at year end, you're already
Yeah,
kind of eyeing this and preparing for this systemically. And yeah,
absolutely.
so it really, I would say this really ultimately comes down to less about the payroll leaders knowing about it and preparing for it. It's them communicating it, and that's I found always was the confusion when we had to deal with it. Of we had so many pay cycles. Yeah, it was just too much. But we would have two questions, right? Obviously. So we would try to head that off because there is going to be that confusion for those that will see that extra paycheck, and believe it or not, people will call and say, hey, I think I might've been overpaid, which is
Yeah.
great. Good to see
Well,
people are honest. Yeah.
I was gonna say on the flip side, like if you haven't given it a second thought, like, I hope we're not gonna create a rush on the poor payroll department where people are going, what is my extra
I know.
paycheck that I'm getting this year,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, right. We probably just created a whole. We probably just created a lot of the communication needs just right now. So anyway,
Yeah,
go
right.
check that out though. I think it's interesting. I had totally forgot about that little thing. And how often do we have a leap year? Do you know the formula of that? I don't know. Is it every other?
No, I
I
thought it was
don't
like
know.
every four.
Anyway,
Oh my God, I'm gonna show my stupidity. I
I
would have
know.
I would have said
It's
never mind.
okay. We're not leap year experts here. We're
Every
HR
4 years.
experts. We're HR
I don't
experts. We're
know.
not leap year experts. But anyway,
Can't
Yeah.
advise on leap year.
Yeah. So that's the news. Look, I hopefully everyone likes these news. We had actually a lot of outreach commending us for these news episodes. So I hope that carving them off has made it helpful. If it has or hasn't, let us know what you think. We'd love to know. And yeah, I mean, we probably could have spent a whole episode just on Workday, maybe even in a whole episode just on ADP's updates. But yeah, really good
Oh,
stuff. So
smash! I was right. It's every 4 years.
every four. Okay, there you go. Leap year.
Like I think I just said something stupid. I have to Google it.
We resolve that. Yeah, every 4 years you have a leap year. So every 4 years, payroll has to deal with this nonsense.
Yeah.
But this is the stuff that payroll is doing. It's a Rubik's cube, people. It really is back there. And what you see going on, day to day, is nothing compared to what payroll is actually doing behind the scenes. So give your
That's
payroll
right.
people some love. They're dealing with leap years and all kinds of problems. So yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
All right,
right.
let's get back to the teaser because you and
Yes.
I are both going to be together at Payroll Congress, which you
Yeah.
have long coined as the Super Bowl of payroll.
It's the Super Bowl week. This is Super Bowl week. I'm so excited, Julie. I am going to be there all week. I'm going to take it all in as I always do. I'm doing a lot. I know you're doing a lot. But let's talk about what we're doing on Wednesday, the executive summit. That's going to be so exciting.
Yes, it will be
Yeah.
because I think this is the first time, right,
Yes.
for the Payroll Congress event that they have an executive summit and they have some folks who are carved out and have their own agenda and they're having some different conversations along with some of the same conversations.
Yeah, event within an event. And I love it because we're going to be bringing awareness to executive leaders about what's really going on with payroll and how should they be thinking about it. I'm so excited because I'm dripping in some of the payroll profession confidence index results that we won't unveil until Friday at Congress. If you're going to be at Congress, please come to that unveil. I'd love to share that with you. And I will be personally emailing to the attendees a copy advance before it goes out a few weeks later. So, or a week or two later. So please, yeah,
That just seems so unfair, Pete, to have to wait to the very end of the conference because
I
honestly,
know.
what you've done with that survey is so. I mean, it's just so amazing, and I can't wait for people to see it. I've had the privilege of taking a little sneak peek as we were getting ready for our joint session together, and it's just awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome what you've
thank
done
you.
with
I
that. I know
appreciate
it's a labor of love, so congratulations with that.
Yes, thank you. I'm proud of it. I love what it, look. There's some good stories in here. There's some bad stories in here, but we bottom line, I'm excited for it. I think it turned out exactly the way I thought it would, and it's just the beginning. We're going to be doing a lot more from that data, so I really appreciate everybody being a part of it, and thank you for that feedback. So yeah, so we'll be
Yeah.
talking about that. And what else do you have going on there?
Well, hey, I was just going to say, as part of that executive session that you and I are doing together, we're going to lean on some snippets and sound bites from your findings, which are brand new, and then kind of weave those
Yep.
into what we're calling a think tank, right? So sometimes executive sessions are just more content or different content coming
Yeah.
at somebody, but I think our joint aim is really to get some discussion going and to engage, right, in a way that we all want to be engaging our employees, our managers, and all of our constituents, and to create a forum where the leaders are really engaged in talking about payroll strategy and how they can drive outcomes in a very actionable way.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. I just hope that what we have is a dialogue. I'm hoping for, this is my goal, is a dialogue around what what these executives don't understand or know about payroll, right? And what they should know. There's it's incredible the difference, and that's one of the things I saw in the payroll profession confidence index. I call it the PPCI now. Um, that when executives are leaning into their payroll organizations as a champion, as a supporter, the results are absolutely night and day different. And the impact to strategic value is, I think, 3 or 4x. So I want to show that to everyone. And I hope that's what they come away with, is understanding that payroll is more than what you might think. And if you're not
absolutely.
thinking about it this way, you're at a disadvantage. So that's what I'm really hoping for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so I'm at the other end. My session is on Tuesday, before even our joint
Yeah.
executive summit day, from 1 to 2 o'clock local, and I'll be talking about payroll and creating and really harvesting stakeholder relations. So
Oh, nice.
forever in a day, payroll. There's the lifelong question of should payroll sit with HR, should payroll sit with finance, and the stakeholder map for payroll is just more complicated, I think, than any other function in the organization.
Yeah.
And so there's always questions about how, like not only where should payroll sit, but a little bit more importantly, regardless of where you sit, how do you have to, how do you work your relationship with, not just HR and finance, but IT or operations where timekeeping often sits, or shared services if you're in an organization where that's a thing, right? Um, and then it bleeds into all sorts of interesting topics that go to our seat at the table, that go to the, what skills or how you're even recruiting and thinking about a payroll role. Reminds me of the conversation that we've had recently with Kieran on
Yeah.
from Australia on, like the very nature of payroll and a lot of other jobs in our organization are changing. And so what does that mean for skills? What does it mean for the relationships internally between and among the functions? And that's where I'm going on Tuesday, or that's where I'll be
Yeah.
talking on Tuesday.
Oh yeah, I'm
So
looking forward
excited
to
for
it.
that.
I'm signed up. I'll be there. I'll be tweeting for you, Julie. I want to go. I want
Woo!
to learn. I want to learn anyway. But yeah, no, I'll be in there making sure to be your biggest fan. But no, for sure, look for us while you're there. Let's. That's the thing I love about Payroll Congress. This is one of the most unique events in all of. I feel like I'm a professional event goer in some ways. I've probably been to
You
more
are.
than most, and very privileged, very very privileged to do that. I don't take a minute of it for granted. I don't take a single event for granted. But I think that the payroll org event is. I mean, they've been doing this for what are we talking now? This is the 40 something, right? Am I right?
Yeah. Oh my
Forty
gosh, I
second,
should have had that off the top. I
something
want
like
to say
that.
42nd. Yeah.
42nd. Yeah. Look, they've been doing this for a minute. They know how to do events, and I'll tell you, it's one of the most well thought out events I've ever been to. Just the little details. I think I was telling you, like the little things, like the spouses coordination for not necessarily spouses, but partners that come to the event, right? Something to do for them. Just little stuff, right? The costume contest, the awards, there's just so many little ways in which they put a lot of neat little touches to this that it's not just education and networking. It's a lot of fun, and it's very very comfortable and accommodating for everyone. So if you've never been, you're missing it. And if you're going, get with us. Let's get together. Let's. I've already set up I don't know how many meetings. And I'm sure there's going to be many more in the hallways. And we're going to try to do some recording while we're there. And I know it's just going to be the fun that it always is. So
That's right.
can't
So
wait.
yeah, please reach out. I think we've both posted that,
Yeah.
we're there, we're going to be speaking, and we really do value the chance to get to, to talk with folks one on one or in groups or as part of your organization. So yeah, don't hesitate. That's part of the privilege of being able to be at an event, is being able to meet and talk to folks that you're not usually co-located with,
Yeah,
right?
and the learning. I mean, the learning
Yeah.
and the trading of information is super. And again, I say it's the Super Bowl of payroll because it is. It really is. You catch people from around the world come to this, and that's what's exciting, right? Is seeing payroll come together for each other.
Yeah.
Great community. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good. That's anything else, Julie? Anything else you need to? I know you got the Alight article going around. I'll make sure I put that in here for people to see. What else? Anything else going
Yeah.
on?
Oh, well, thanks for that. I
Yeah.
actually probably, if we haven't posted it yet, I have one of my micro surveys open, and I'm so excited for this one. Now that we're past the payroll confidence survey that
Cool.
you've pulled together,
Yeah.
this is intelligent automation in HR. And if there's something that folks are talking about everywhere, wide and far, it's AI, and I'd say
Yes.
even beyond that, intelligent automation. These micro surveys are kind of my practitioner attempt to take bite-sized bits of intel and pass it along for other practitioners. And so it's literally 15 questions,
Yeah.
and we'll put a link to that as well. I think we're going to close it here at the end of the month. I might leave it open actually right through payroll Congress, just in case
Yeah.
there's some other folks.
Yeah, shoot that over
Yeah,
to me. I don't know if I have that, Julie. So if you could email me that, I'll make sure I share it and we'll get
I
it in
will
here
do that.
to the description so everybody can have that. So yeah,
Absolutely.
awesome.
So, yeah, so thanks for the chance to mention that. These surveys are important, right? I mean, they're a labor of love, like you say.
Yeah, no, they're great. Pulse surveys are good. We can get some good info and we can help direct some things. So
Yeah.
help us out, help us help you, I guess is the way I would look at it. So
Yeah. So,
yeah.
what about you? What else is on your radar as the event goer of event goers?
Oh wow! Let's see. Congress is going to happen, and then I've got the UKG analyst update right after that, so I'll be able to share what's
Yeah.
going on at UKG. And what else? I'll also be at the Walk Me. I don't know if you know Walk Me. They're an employee experience solution user experience solution that is having their analyst day the week before that. So I'll have some updates from that as well. And then of course on into summer, we got Cornerstone and some other ones. So just on the road until summer, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it's a labor of love.
Yeah, and look for the
we
payroll.
do love it.
Yeah, look for the Payroll Profession Confidence Index to come out as well. It'll come out right after Congress. So
awesome.
all good.
Wow,
all right.
That's a lot. That's a mouthful. And
I know.
hopefully, folks, give us your feedback on how you like us kind of bundling the news together instead of a little bit up front in each of them. Maybe it's easier to find the news if we do this.
Yeah,
that's one of our thoughts.
It felt a little disruptive to our guests, so I thought we could just carve it away from that at least. When we do episodes on our own, I think it's probably easy, but when we have guests, it felt a little awkward. So thought we could carve it off, and we've had some great feedback from that. So I think it'll work out. Maybe we'll do a monthly thing, or depends on what's going on, right? This was kind of a hot and heavy month, so we had a lot to talk about. But
excellent.
Look, thank you, Julie. It's always great. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.
Talk again soon.